The power of a mother's love. In a kingdom, the queen had a daughter. She was the only heir to the country. The little princess was surrounded by love from her mother. Every morning, the queen came into her room and dressed her up in the most beautiful clothes. At night, the queen read stories to the young princess. With happiness and joy, the little princess grew up day by day. One day, the queen said to her in a solemn voice, "My child, from this day, you must begin to prepare yourself to be a real queen." The queen asked her guards to lead a tall horse. The little princess drew back a few steps and said timidly, "It is too tall. I don't want to ride." But the queen refused to budge, simply ordered the guards to forcibly hold her on the back of the horse, give her a riding whip, and then took a whip to the horse. The horse was frightened and galloped out. The little princess was crying with fear. All she could do was to hold the whip tightly, tried to keep balance from falling off. After a whole day of strict training, the little princess finally mastered the skills of riding a horse. The next day, the queen took little princess to the forest and gave her the sword. "From this day on," she said, "you will learn to face dangers and difficulties alone." The little princess cried desperately, "Mother, don't leave me." The queen did not even look back and left with her guards. At last, the exhausted little princess stopped crying and running, and knew that she must face what was to come alone. Suddenly, the grass came from a burst of noise. The little princess looked in fear, saw there was a pair of shining green eyes staring at her. It was the wolf. The wolf suddenly came out and did not give her a second to think. The princess brandished a sword to the wolf and stabbed into its stomach. With a tremendous noise, the wolf fell to the ground. "It's dead." Seeing that, the sword was stained with wolf's blood. The little princess thought she had killed the wolf in her panic. She had no time to check and ran away from the wolf as fast as she could. Once the little princess came back to the palace, she stopped talking to her mother. One day, the queen fell ill and soon afterward passed away. The guards knew the princess that she resented the queen during her period of growth, so decided to take her to a front of sample. It was the wolf, which the little princess had killed in the forest. The princess noticed that although there was a mark left by her sword, there was an arrow stuck in the back of the wolf's head. The queen let the little princess watching her leave, and then returned with guard to observe and protect quietly. When the wolf tried the second chance to attack the little princess, it aroused the maternal instinct to shoot the wolf to prevent her from hurting. Mother's love is always unconditional. The power of it will establish trust and emotional intimacy in child's life. A mom's love is all about intentional, gives all she has to us and more, and lets children grow up better.